Hello, I'm Alyssa Ardhya, speaking to you on behalf of the IB Digital Squad at the University of Central Florida College of Business. I'm joined today by a special guest from Innovative Routines International. We're going to talk a little bit about the company and some of the things that they are looking for in a job applicant. So without further ado, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Friedland, a Senior Vice President at IRI.
Hello, Alyssa. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, thank you for being here. Would you tell us about your company and the role you play in it?
Sure. Our company is a software company. We're based in Brevard County, and we specialize in data management software and services. And that includes all kinds of areas around processing big data and masking sensitive data, and a bunch of other things that people with a technical background would really appreciate. I'm the Vice President of Business Development. I'm also responsible for hiring decisions in both the business side of the company as well as the technical side.
Okay, good. Let's start with this question. When you're looking at a prospective employee's resume, what are some specific skills that your company looks for in potential hiring candidates?
Well, you can imagine, as a software company, we're looking for both software skills for people to develop the products, as well as business and marketing and sales related skills to help us develop our company in the marketplace. So the kinds of skills we'd be looking for in the latter category, which is of course of interest to your audience, things that are demonstrative of an applicant's ability to present themselves and technical subjects with confidence and competence. So we would want a background not only in business, but also in presentation and communication platforms, of course, on the internet, the ability to present themselves, their ideas, and of course, the software that we're selling as credibly and as concisely as possible.
That makes sense. It's logical that you'd be looking for someone with good technical communication skills. What are some other things you look for when determining that an interview is warranted?
In our case, we're looking for someone not only with those skills, but preferably some experience in the computer science field, or at least the information technology industry. And of course, some kind of demonstrated passion for either, right? Because that'll qualify the person on the business side, to sound more credible. Because when they're presenting our company and when they're trying to sell software or do marketing, they need to know what they're talking about, and it needs to show.
I assume you're looking at resumes, but would you go to a platform like LinkedIn to find people with that background? If so, how important is a LinkedIn profile in your hiring process?
That's a good question. I don't know that we would necessarily go to a platform like LinkedIn to find that person. But having said that, we would look at their profile once we started talking to them, however they came to us. So it would be important, I think, especially for a person in a position that we want representing our business. It's obvious that they have to present themselves well and on a technical platform. So that's why a LinkedIn profile would be of particular importance to us in our case.
That's good to know. How helpful is it for a job candidate's chance to get hired to have at least one internship on their resume?
It is very helpful, preferably an internship that is relevant to what they're wanting to do at our company, because it will show that they have direct experience with the skill set and the kind of activity that they'd be doing at our company, ideally. But if not, just to show that they have work experience, that they can show up on time, be dedicated to task, and hopefully produce either a body of work and or a recommendation from their employer, so that we can rely on that experience as being something relevant and qualifying for us.
Do you take past unrelated job experience into account, things like retail or restaurant work?
Yeah, as I said, ideally we'd want the past experience to be directly related. And if it isn't directly related, at least peripherally related. Whether or not we would consider retail or restaurant work per se, that's probably a stretch in our case. But again, if there is that on a person's resume and other things that are relevant, like maybe not an internship, but some skills in computer programming, technical communication platforms, sales, that in combination with the internship would tell us that we have a person who's both qualified, but also able to show up and go to work. So in that sense, yes, it could be relevant.
Beyond what's in our backgrounds, are there other things that students interested in working for your company can do to get their foot in the door?
Yeah, they need to contact us. And when they do, they need to do it in such a way that will pay attention, right? Get their foot in the door, which means know what it is we do, right? And how that is relevant to what they can do for us, so that they're demonstrating a synergy. And I think that kind of that merging of ideas between the technical things that our company stands for, the goals we have, and then the technical background and the ambitions that the candidate has, we need to understand what that fit is right away. Otherwise, that person is going to be lower down on the, let's say, interview qualification totem pole, right? So just to reiterate, if you want to make an impression on our company or any other for that matter, I think it's important that you demonstrate knowledge of what that company does and what you can specifically do for it in as much as possible.
Great, that should help them get an interview. So when a prospective employee does an interview there, is there anything you would recommend they do or not do to distinguish themselves in a good way?
Well, do show up on time, do show up well dressed, do not slouch, do not bring a friend, do not interrupt, do be enthusiastic about yourself and about the company. Tell us why you think you'd be a good fit. Tell us what are some of the things you'd like to do. Some of the things that you have done, of course, that are directly relevant, before you tell us about things that are not so relevant. I mean, just think of it this way. Put yourself in the position of the interviewer and then think about what it is that person needs to hear, how they need to hear it, when they need to hear it, right? And, have respect for their time. So when you go to an interview, you're going to be ready because you're thinking from their perspective.
Great. And finally, has your company hired a UCF Integrated Business graduate in the past?
We've hired a UCF business graduate. I think that predates the IB program per se, but yes, we certainly have.
What was your impression of their readiness for work and their attitude?
In that particular person's case, very favorable. They were very enthusiastic about getting a job with us and telling us why. And then when they came to work and were with us, and in fact directly worked with me for several years, we had a very good relationship because of that person's very positive attitude. I can't say enough and stress enough about the attitude that you not just bring to an interview, but bring to the job, right? Stay enthusiastic, be positive, look to make a contribution. And probably, if you remember nothing else, don't bring your bosses and colleagues your problems. You can tell them what they are, but make sure before you do, you bring them your solution and your alternatives to solve that problem.
Okay, thank you for that too. It was very enlightening. Thanks again for being here, Mr. Friedland.
Sure, I'm happy to help. Thanks for having me.
If you'd like to learn more about this company or look for open internships or jobs, check out the link in the description below. For IB Digital Squad at the University of Central Florida, I'm Alyssa Ardhya, and it's been a pleasure to bring this information to you.